Hi, I'm Dr. Tansy Coleman. I am here with you. At this channel, we share lots of tips, tricks for lifestyle and wellness. And in my other channel, Dr. Tansy Coleman, I share lots of tips and tricks on wellness, and I teach about physician burnout and physician wellness and health coaching. However, in this channel, I want to talk to you more about how I live the life of wellness and self-care and healthy habits. So let's get started. Today, I want to talk about how I'm going to show you guys how I color my stubborn and resistant grays. I am 42 years old and I have a lot of grays, and it's probably because of amount of radiation that I'm exposed to at work. I do work as an interventional neurologist, so I'm exposed to quite high levels of radiation at work, and my hair is, I wouldn't say 80% gray, but it's close, and most of it's focused in the front, and they're quite resistant. And I get a lot of questions on how I do my highlights and how I do my grays. So today I'm just gonna show you how I cover the grays. This is my routine, the way I've been doing it for years. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started and gather the supplies I need. Thanks. Okay, so I've gathered the supplies I need. So the first thing is I use a brush. I just ordered it off of Amazon. The bristles are kind of soft, and I like this fine, almost like a highlighting end at the back. I don't know what you call these, but I like this tip because it helps me pick out really thin sections so that I get full coverage for my grays, because they are super resistant, and you'll see when I'm done, even after all that, I still have some issues with, I think it's maybe South Asian hair, I don't know. I also keep a tub of Vaseline because it's to protect my skin and my forehead. I like to use this Madison Reed color, and for my base, I like the 7.5. It gives me a nice dark base, but not too dark, so that it doesn't wash out and look too almost like vampire-y. I don't really like that stark black color on me. And I like to pre-prep my hair. This is different, but it's a South Asian oil. You can use any hair oil that you like. I like coconut oil or one of these oils because it basically conditions my hair, and I noticed that my hair is a little softer and basically has a more even coverage on my hair after the fact. After I'm done coloring, my hair feels a little like smoother, softer, and the cover goes on a little bit more evenly because it kind of like spreads across the shaft nicely. And the first thing is I'm going to remove my white clean sweatshirt so that I don't get color all over it, and I'll be right back. Let's take this out. Basically going to apply a generous amount of oil onto my hair shafts, and coconut oil tends to get a little solid when it's cold outside. It's fall right now, so my coconut oil is usually solid at this temperature, and so you can kind of rub it and melt it down. But this is pretty liquid and pours out fairly easily. Sometimes I even heat it up if it's in the winter. It just feels nice to give yourself a massage and just really get it into the roots. And if you want me to do a video on how I do my hair oil massage, I try and do a hair oil massage right before every wash day. And before, when I used to wash my hair maybe 3 or 4 days each week, I would do oil massages 3 or 4 times a week. But now, because I'm having so much hair loss and I'm taking a lot of biotin, and I'm also taking minoxidil, and if you want me to post a review on how I like minoxidil, I've been taking it about a month and a half now. I can make a video. You can comment below and let me know. But because of those factors, I wash my hair about once a week, and I feel like the older I get, my hair is getting drier, especially with the grays are much more dry, and so washing my hair more than once a week becomes almost too harsh for my hair. And I just try and wear protective styles and reserve the washing for the times I need to, and stick to once a week. I just kind of let all of that work in. And I make sure I get good. So you see how there's like about, I don't know, I would say maybe half an inch of growth. Maybe a little bit more than that, maybe not a full inch. Not sure how you would define that. Sure, some people say you shouldn't oil your hair at the roots, that just stick to the ends only. I get it from root to bottom. I mean, your hair, your scalp skin is still skin and can benefit from massage and oiling, just like your skin on your body can benefit from conditioning. So it's the same idea. And so now that I've done that, I will go ahead and put the oil away. Make sure you wipe it down with a towel that I keep on hand because I don't want my cabinets getting greasy. All right, so now that that's done, I am going to prep my skin, take some Vaseline, and basically put it all around. I try not to get any on my actual hair because you'll see I have to do like a lot of coverage on my hair itself, and because the rest of my skin is pretty dry right now. It's the morning. I just got the kids to school and my skin can use some love. I think maybe I'll do a facial today too while I'm waiting for the hair to color. So I'm gonna go get a piece of paper towel to wipe out the sink and all the hair, and I will be right back. Okay, I like to work with a clean work prep surface. I generally find it annoying when I have to work around a bunch of stuff. So anything that I'm not using, I put it away. And okay, so just gonna tilt the screen and show you what I'm actually doing here. So the Madison Reed box actually comes in a nice, it's a lot of extra cardboard, but I do find it handy because I feel like as you're going through the coloring process, you can kind of use the box to gather your throwaways and your waste products. So this is the actual cream color. I do like Madison Reed because I feel like it's a little healthier than any of the grocery store brand colors I've used. I've tried everything, and the grocery store brand colors actually don't even cover my grays. And I find that this color works much better than anything I've used. So I usually just use this, pretty much 100% used to using Madison Reed. When I do go to my hair salon, the woman sometimes will use a different color, and I don't know what brand she uses, but I find that Madison Reed actually covers my grays better than than the professional colors that they use. So this is the cleansing wipe, and this is the barrier cream, which I use Vaseline, but this works pretty well too. I'll just go ahead and show you. It's like a white, it almost feels like a conditioner. So I'll put that on as well. These are just the instructions. I don't really look at it anymore, but they're pretty self-explanatory and they're good, and they're that infographic style, like IKEA style instructions, and it tells you how long. I usually keep my color on for about 45 minutes. It's about 10 minutes longer than the recommended time, and I find that it works best for the coverage of my hair. I have everything in a little bucket right here, and cap. Okay, so this is the activator or developer, and it comes, this is nice because you don't have to use scissors to cut this. It just screws on and off, which is kind of handy, to be honest, because if I don't have to go look for one more thing, and those tips are hard to cut and almost wreck my scissors every time, and I don't really like doing it. So I'm appreciative that they've done that. So what I do is squeeze and get everything out. And I used to use just half the box sometimes, thinking I'm only doing the roots and I don't need all of it, but my hair is so thick that I generally end up using at least 3/4 of the box, and I find I wasn't patient enough to save 1/4 of a box of color every time, because saving it is also, you have to measure out by ounces, and it's a little bit of a process. And so I just use the whole thing because my hair is thick enough to use most of it, the bulk of it. And so if you want to gauge how much your hair will need, then, you know, go ahead and do so. The one thing I would say is I would like it if they gave me a tube that I could have less waste inside the tube. I like to get everything out. Yep, wrong tube. Okay, wrong cap. All right, so this is still on, so I don't have to worry about it exploding. So shake that around and use this as my handy dandy trash can. Put that in there. You have to be careful about spilling hair color all over your porcelain sink and your countertops, because I learned this the hard way. I actually got hair color that I had neglected to wipe off right away on my kitchen sink in my old condo. And it literally, the stuff was so caustic, it ate through the coating of that little bit of dye that I had left on there for, I don't know, like 10 or 15 minutes, had basically eaten through the coating of my porcelain sink and left a crack in it. So be careful. I don't know if I've never done it since. I've been very careful to not let that happen again. So try and wipe out spills right away. And this is nice because when you have these kind of bottles, spills are minimal. And I'm going to open up my towel here, get my brush ready. Okay, here we go. All right. And I also have a wall-mounted mirror for when I need the magnification. Let me show you. That's my wall-mounted mirror that gives me like a 10x mag, which is nice. And okay, here we go. So I'm going to use this mirror, and it helps to have the mirror in the front, the mag-up mirror, and now this the iPhone too, because I'm recording you on my iPhone. So you can see I have about, from here is gray, but then maybe that much root that can overlap with the previous color and not cover my highlights. What I do is I just part down the middle. And so when you're doing this at home and you want to cover your roots and you don't want to cover your highlights, the biggest thing is to focus on, you know, instead of, I part my hair in the middle, and instead of really looking at it as like this half and this half, I almost cover like that. It's a little easier to have that as like a wider section. I do have gloves in here somewhere. Here we go. They come with a pair of gloves. Actually, they come with 2 pairs of gloves in case. And I usually end up I have a bunch of these extra gloves now because I don't end up needing the 2 pairs most of the time. I haven't yet. And I just keep them for like, I don't know, stuff around the house. And I appreciate that they're not massive. They're like made for female hands. So it's not a perfect fit, but it's a good fit for female hands. And I can actually use it and not fighting the glove while I'm coloring my hair. So, yeah. You're going to hear some funny sounds that come out of that bottle. That's okay. Some air. And the trick is to really saturate the hair and control so that you're not really, like you're just tapping. You're just tapping so that, and I'll go twice in this middle line because I feel like a lot of my grays are in the front. And I want to make sure I get every strand, and you're just tapping in and instead of out. And so instead of going like a motion like this, you're going kind of down more than out. So it's like you're intentionally pushing that color into the hair shaft. All right, I'm gonna switch to this mirror because it's a little easier for me from this side because it has a magnification. So I'm gonna work on my right side first. And then try and make an even part. And if you find it's a little uneven, you can even it out. And try not to smoosh down too much because when you place the color and you push the color in, it's going to smoosh down for you. So I focus on getting the inside first, and then I'll show you how I do the front line because the front line is what needs a lot of the color. And it helps. I remember one time my husband helped me on a weekend, and that was actually really helpful because it helps when someone can see the back and do the back part for you. And so if you have someone that can help me do that, that's great. I don't really have anybody on hand that can help me do that right now. And so I basically go double where I see a lot of the grays. So like right here, my grays seem super prominent right now. So so I'm just gonna go in thin sections and try not to touch your colored portion. You just lightly, like you pull tight here, and that's how you do it. Try not to like push it down on this side. You kind of like pull down from the parts that you're not gonna get color on. And see, you pull down this way rather than, you pull down this way rather than like smooshing down with your fingers up here. And don't be stingy with the color. And that's part of the reason I actually end up using up so much of the color, because you want to make sure you get full coverage and full saturation. There's no point in working this hard and then being stingy with color, and then you don't get the coverage you need, and you'll just have like not good coverage, and you're just gonna have grays peeking out, and there's no point in wasting all that time. And so a lot of people will ask me, why don't you just do this in the salon? And number one, time. It's hard for me. My stylist is usually booked out. She works about 3 days a week. And so it's hard to get time to get on her books for this just root coverage service. And she usually tells me, you know, she can't get me in for like another 3 months, which it's too long to wait. And the other thing is, it usually takes about 2 hours, 3 hours for me to like get all this done, start to finish. So I don't really feel like it's a good use of my time to sit in somebody's chair for that long. You could be different, but for me, it's really hard for me to find that time to do that. And because I can really just take care of other things while I'm doing this at home, which I can't really do while I'm sitting at the salon. And so for me, this works out much better. And secondly, I find the Madison Weed hair color gives me much better coverage than her color. And I've actually shared this with her, and she approves of this color. She says, like, my hair, when she does the highlights for me, she says that it's super easy to manage. It lifts easily. It's not like the usual box colors that she recommends. Every stylist I know has never liked it when you use these like home colors that have like sulfates and stuff in it. They get really upset about it, and then they have to do the hard job in fixing it, and they're not a fan of it. She actually approves of me using this color. So overall, it works out for me. And the cost, it usually costs me a couple $100, like almost 85 plus tips to get it colored by salon, because I think colorists have to charge based on their purchase price of the color itself, and then they have to factor in their service time and et cetera, et cetera. And then you gotta tip them. And so in terms of cost, I find, at $35, this is a very cost-effective way of getting good coverage. And oh look, I got a little bit on my highlights, which I just got my highlights done not too long ago, so I don't want those covered. And so you can just take a towel and wipe it off and try not to. So the towel, I just keep it open on top of my counter here. Number one, to catch any spills, but also I can just wipe my glove off if I get some on my fingers. It's really important to keep your fingers clean, because if you're messy working with the color, what's gonna happen is it's gonna just get all over, and then you're not gonna have the specific placement of the color that you need. Because again, remember, this is the roots. If you have roots and no highlights, the job is a little easier. But for me, I want to protect my highlights because I like them, and they do a good job of blending my hair color with my grays and all the things that come with aging hair. And so I prefer a very specific placement of my color. And my hair colorist is really funny, because she tells me I'm probably one of the most specific. She doesn't use that word. She uses the word picky. But that's okay, ladies. That's okay. If you know what you like, that's okay. She says, I'm probably one of her most pickiest clients, and I just like things the way I like them. No wonder why I just kind of like doing things myself. So here we are. And if you have like an uneven part at some point because of the way your hair falls, like in the front, my hair, because of my biotin treatment and my minoxidil, I have like weird patchy growths coming in and weird places, weird baby hairs everywhere, and I don't mind them, I love them. And so my part can be a little funny at times in certain sections, and that's okay. Just kind of, you see how the color actually builds up, and you want that. You want every hair shaft to pick up the color that it needs. And if you have more, that's okay. You just have to still focus on keeping it precise and not working messy. If you work clean and control your brush and just do that tapping motion that I showed you, things will be fine. And so I'm gonna go through and do the rest of my hair until I get to this part, which the front, I'm gonna show you how I section the front like that, and do the front of my hairline, which has probably almost 100% gray. Yeah, I started getting my grays in the sides and the front first. It's like part of being a silver fox, I guess. And as you have less hairs like towards the back, you can kind of go a little thicker with the sections, and plus you have more saturation at that point because all the color you've been depositing has kind of, oops, see, there you go, look, I had an oopsie. Just gonna wipe down and make sure I don't have any color on my sink. All right guys, I'm back, I've done the front. And now I'm going to show you what I do with the back. So with the back, you really can't see. So, and when I'm doing the front, I go as back far as possible. And so, I don't know if you can see it, but that's the back. And so what I do is I just kind of squeeze in, and I don't really blend in. I just make some parts. And I let the hair just kind of smush it in. I don't have too many highlights through here, which again, that'll change because I actually do like highlights going through the back. But right now, I don't have too many of them, so just kind of go through and squeeze it in. And lastly, it's the nape. I do have some grays around here, and so I don't do a good job of covering those, and sometimes you gotta let a few things go. And so when I do get highlighted every, I don't know, I go about 6 months or so. And so when I do go for my highlights every 6 months or so, I have her kind of go through the whole back of my hair and put in some highlights there. And this is like terrible. I do lose more hair when I cover it, but I don't know. Done the front and gotten what I could of the back and the nape, and honestly, you don't really see the back too much anyway, especially when you have long hair. The short-haired ladies might be a little harder for you guys. I don't know. I've always had like longish, like medium-ish hair. I don't really keep pixies and stuff. So if you have any tips that, for me, I learned this just by practice and watching YouTube videos from other fabulous ladies. But if you think that you have some tips and pointers for me, please go ahead and comment and let me know what you think I should do better or differently. And I will wash, and I'm not gonna dry, but I'm wash, and once my hair is dry, I will show you how it all looks. And this is the little cleansing wipe that I use to clean up the front. I don't really care too much about having some stains in the front because I have so much grays over there that like I really just care more about the coverage of the hair, because the skin, like next time I wash my hair, it's gonna go away. And then I make sure I get anything that I may have spilled, wipe that up. And I don't know what's in these wipes. I don't know if that's caustic to my countertops, so I try not to use too much of this stuff as well. And just plain water, soap water, and I just clean up everything. I'm gonna go clean up my brush, and when I'm all washed and dry, I will show you the update. Thanks. One thing I forgot to share, this is when I start my timer for 45 minutes, and Madison Reed does come with this cap. And so I did go ahead and place that just so when I sit in a chair and stuff, I remember more for my reminder. I don't like to gather up all my hair and put it under the cap because I found it like smushes and gets highlights in places where it's not supposed to be. So what I do is I just kind of put it there as like a gentle reminder to myself that not to put my hair on things. Okay, that's it. After I wash, I'm going to show you the outcomes. Thanks. Okay guys, so it's all washed. I just want to show you what it looks like. You can still see, I mean, I think I got most of it. There's still a little bit here. that didn't cover. For on this side, it looks like it's mainly covered. So we'll see. I'll wash and dry it. I do put some leave-in conditioner and make sure that I put a lot of conditioner in after the wash days. Again, it's less of an issue with the Madison Reed color, but I do make sure I put a good leave-in conditioner in just to prevent my hair from any damage. And then after it's dry, I'll show you the final results. Okay guys, I decided to show you the post picture because there's good bright sunlight here and you can see where everything is covered, and maybe a little bit there got missed, and those baby hairs are kind of tough to get underneath because of the hairline can be a little weird in the front, but overall everything's covered in the front. I'm happy, and the highlights kind of go through and blend the natural coverage there. So overall I'm happy with the results, and mainly where my part is, again, it looks more like a natural progression with some color variation rather than grays. So that's it. That's my update and how I cover my grays. I hope you like this video.